Hi, this is Julie with PhotoFabPaperFlowers, and thank you for watching. This video will instruct you to create a large paper flower using the large template 13 template. And you're going to cut everything according to the instruction document provided with the purchase of this template. And you can optionally ink your petals. So I did go around all the petals on both sides with Distress Oxide ink. I colored in with a lighter shade on the tips, and all this is outlined in the instruction document. And then I just went ahead in the center and on the tips to add some additional Distress Oxide ink in a darker color. And I did that to all my flowers now, or petals. Now for the the second style petal, I did go through and I added some vintage photo, but we also can add a little bit of the ground espresso in the center to really highlight the shape, to make it a little bit darker. So I did forget to do that. But again, you can style it however you want, or not even ink it at all, because this is a larger template. So if you didn't want to take that extra time to ink, that's perfectly okay. Again, I like to highlight the center just like I did with my template 13 mini flower. Now I did cut all these petals with my cutting machine, and I used 12 by 12 for this set of petals. And that was 13 sheets of 12 by 12 paper. Now for some additional styling to the petals, we're going to take our flower shaping mat and one of the larger metal ball stylus tools, and we're going to simply roll in a circular motion at the tip. So we're taking that round part and giving it some shape. Okay. And then I just switched to the larger end here. I have my petals stacked from largest to smallest. I'm just going to roll down from the tip to curl that petal. And now we're just going to add some vertical lines. So you're embossing some texture onto them. And then again, starting here at the top, right underneath the rolled part, you just pull down and it curls the petal, and it also gives it some texture. And then for the second petal design, all we're simply going to do is, using the smaller one, we're going to start at the tip and just roll down to curl that little edge. And then I flip over and I add vertical lines that go across the petal. And then I'm just going to come down each of these little tentacles to curl them in towards the center. So you want to do that on your flower shaping mat because it is a soft foam mat, and it allows you to emboss those lines, but also soft to pull and drag your metal ball stylus. The next thing we're going to do is roll our petals a little bit. So we are going to pull in one of our larger dowel rods, which is our 3/4 inch. It's our big petal, our biggest dowel rod. And I'm going to take 3 at a time. And generally we roll our petals back, but with this flower, I'm just going to roll it in a little bit. I'm just going to roll right around just to give it some curl. We don't want it super duper curled. We already have some curl to our petals. So you can just place it down and then just roll it right along. And it's going to curl that top. And we're going to take our next set So we're doing 6 petals per layer as outlined in the instruction document. So I do have them stacked in a stack of 6. So we're just rolling it along to curl that petal ever so slightly. Now they will flatten out once we start. So you can see I place it down. I do come in at a little bit of an angle and just roll it all the way across. I'm not squeezing super tight. Again, we're using that 3/4 inch dowel rod. We're taking 3 at a time. I'm placing them upside down, putting my 3/4 inch dowel rod in, and we're just going to roll right around. Okay, and roll it. I'm going to take our next one. Take 3 petals. So super duper easy, not a lot of styling unless you want to ink your petals. Again, all that information is outlined in the instruction document. Okay, I start on the left side and I just roll it all the way around. So the petals are rolled up. I'm going to take our last petals. This time I'm going to thread it in here from the bottom, and I'm still going on the left side, and we're just going to roll it around. These are going to be our innermost petals. Again, there's 6 of each in each layer. We're going to take out our ruler and a pencil. So for our layer 1, we want them to be a little bit flatter. So I'm going to flip them over, and we're going to cut up the center. I'm going to go about 3.5 inches. Okay. Now you don't have to cut all 6 at once. So I turn it over so I'm cutting on the back side of the petal. So we did 3.5 inches. Now we're simply going to lift the right side over the left. So on the left side, I add some glue. You lift the right side up and over, and you're just going to bring it over to where the right side meets the corner over here. Add your line of glue, lift it up and over, and again, that right corner meets down here. Lifts up and over. So the further up we cut up our petal, the lower the petal is going to sit on your base. The less you cut, the higher it would sit on it. So I add the glue on the left side of the petal along the edge, lift it up and over, and it just meets there. So it should almost have like a little dimple right there. Okay, that's our layer 1. Layer 2 are the exact same size as layer 1. We're going to flip it over. And layer 1 we cut 3.5 inches. So layer 2, I want it to sit a little bit higher. So we're just going to go to 3 inches. Just looking for my pencil. Make our pencil mark. We cut up the center. Flip them back over. And again, we're going to do that same technique where we lift the right side over to the left. So now they're going to sit a little bit higher than layer 1. So lift up and over. So lift the right side up and over. So again, put your line down the left side, right along that edge. You lift the right side up and over, and it's just meeting there at the bottom. Okay, layer 3, we now change the size of our petal. It's a little bit smaller. And we're going to cut 2 inches, 2.25. Sorry. So again, we separate it. I usually put my fingers right there and then right down the left side of the petal along that edge. Lift the right side up and over, and it meets again over here along the edge. Okay, separate the petals with your fingers. Put your glue down the left side of the petal along that edge. Lift the right side up and over, and it meets right at that edge. Okay, your glue. Lift the right side up and over and press. Okay, layer 4. They're the same size as layer 3. We're going to do 1 3/4. So I make my pencil mark. Cut up the center of the petal. We do our pencil line, or our line of glue along that edge there. We lift the right side up and over. See, now you can see it's starting to sit a little bit higher. Lift the right side up and over. Okay, and now layer 5 is smaller than our layer 4. So we're going to do 1 1/4 inches. So we want this to sit pretty high. Yeah, our petal shape changed. So we add our glue. We lift the right side up and over. So now it's going to sit pretty high up off the tabletop. And it meets over there on the left side, just like all of our other petals. Okay, draw your line. Add your line of glue right along that left side. Lift up and over. Well, I'm very tongue-tied during this filming. Okay, now we're ready to assemble. So we're going to use our hexagons. So I have a 7-inch, a 4.5, I think. Again, cut it according to the instruction document. So what I like to do is to cut 2 of them. I add my glue to the smaller one. This way I don't have to measure in as much. We're going to place this down in the center best you can. I like to trace around it so you can see it. Okay. So we are coming in 1 inch from the 7. So this might be a 5. All right, so you're coming in and we're going to glue to the straight edge of this first one. So we have 5 layers. So from the smaller one, I'm going to measure in a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch. So every straight edge from there to make 2 more lines. Okay. And now we're just going to move our petals out of the way. You do want to keep them in order so you don't get mixed up. All right. So we're going to add glue across our bottom, about 1 inch. We're going to come up to this straight edge and glue it down. Okay, you're going to rotate to the left or counterclockwise. So we're going right up to the outer edge of our inner hexagon. Okay, so right up to the edge and press. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Okay, bring it straight in and press. Trying to get it in the center there. That one was a little bit off, but that's okay. We add our glue. And press. Rotate to the left or counterclockwise. Rotate to the left or counterclockwise. Now you have layer 1 all glued down. Now I did forget to mention, I do like to use a cake round to glue my base to. So I am going to add some glue to this cardboard round. And glue it to my base. And I just find it a lot more stable for when I mount it. So when you hang them. Okay, layer 2, we're going to go up to the corner of our hexagon. So if you want, you can make a dot. We're just going to place it right there. So again, you just add your glue to the bottom of the petal and bring it straight down and press. Okay, rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Okay, go right up to the corner. I do come in just a little bit. So we have the size of our flower at this point. It's about 15 inches, maybe a little bit larger. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. It's about 15 and a half, it looks like. Okay, again, we're going to go in between the petals of layer 1, right up to the corner. I do come in just a little bit and press. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Okay, in between the petals of layer 1 up to your corner and press. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise, and again we're going in between the petals of layer 1. We add our glue. Come up to the corner, and we're coming in just a little bit. We add our glue. Again, we go in between the petals of layer 1, right up to the corner. And again, I'm kind of coming in so it forms a circle around there. And that's layers 1 and 2. Okay, we're going to go to layer 3. Now our petals are much shorter, or half an inch shorter. So we're going to move in by a half an inch. So we're going into our pencil line, our first pencil line. Okay, so we're going in between the petals of layer 2. So we're going to add our glue. So we're going to go in between. It'll be lined up with layer 1 up to your pencil line. So here's layer 1 and layer 3 in between the petals of layer 2 and press. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. We flip the petals towards us. Okay. So we're lined up with layer 1 in between the petals of layer 2 up to our pencil line and press. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Add our glue. We're lining up with layer 1 and 3 are lined up in between the petals of layer 2 up to that pencil line we added. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Again, layered 1 and 3 are lined up in between the petals of layer 2. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Okay. Layer 1 and 3 are lined up in between the petals of layer 2 up to your pencil line and press. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Add your glue. Again, layers 1 and 3 in between the petals of layer 2 and up to that pencil line and press. And you can bring the first layer forward. Super beautiful. Okay, now we're at layer 4. We're still with the same petal. So we are going to come into our next pencil line. Okay, so layers 2 and 4 are now going to be lined up. So I'm going to eyeball them that they're lined up in between the petals of layer 3 up to that pencil line. And press. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Okay, 2 and 4 lined up in between the petals of layer 3 up to our pencil line. Okay, rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Add your glue, layers 2 and 4 in between the petals of layer 3 up to that pencil line. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Okay, 2 and 4 up to the pencil line. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Oh, she's so beautiful. Add your glue. Again, layers 2 and 4 are lined up in between the petals of layer 3, right up to that pencil line, and press. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Add our glue. We're looking at layers 2 and 4. Bring it straight down in between. And I should have not glued that layer 1 down. So we're just going to come back. I did lift it up a little, so I'm just going to re-glue it to tuck that last petal behind. Okay, now we have layer 5. And we're just going to so I just want to see where I want to place her. So we're actually going to measure in another 1/2 inch. So once you're making it, it'll be a lot easier because you'll have the sizes and you can make your pencil marks. But I'm just going to measure in a 1/2 inch in between each layer. So normally I will make all my pencil marks first because it's a lot easier, but you can use your flexible ruler to make those marks. Or you can use the base that I have included with the purchase of the template. So we're going to flip the petal forward, and we're only going to add some glue on the right side here because our petal will need to be tucked, our last petal behind the first. Okay, so layers 1, 3, and now 5 are lined up. So we're just going to bring it in to our pencil lines. So we're going to just press on the right side at the moment. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise, and now we can add glue across all entire bottom. Okay, 1, 3, and now 5 are lined up. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Okay, 1, 3, and 5 in between the petals of layer 4 up to your pencil line and press. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. layers 1, 3, and now 5 in between the petals of layer 2 up to that pencil line. Rotate it to the left. We have 2 more petals. Okay, 1, 3, and now 5 in between the petals of layer 4 up to your pencil line and press. And now we are going to tuck that last one behind there. So we can add glue to petal 6 all the way across. But we are going to lift up that layer 1. Get that petal in there. And now we're going to add a little bit of glue to the bottom of layer 1. So I'm going to flip up my stand. And press that down. Okay, so now we just have to create our center. Super beautiful. Okay, for our centers, I'm going to optionally ink, and I'm going to use Vintage Photo. So I'm just going to take a finger dabber, and we're going to brush on some color. So depending on what color center you're using, maybe you don't want to ink at all, and that's perfectly okay. You can do this while they're on your Cricut mat. Flip it over, and we're going to again add some ink. So this is taking the same center that we use for our mini flower, but you can also use them at a larger size for large paper flowers. So this center does come with your purchase of large template 13, excuse me. And we're just going to shade it just a little bit. You can use the larger applicators. Just in this case, I use Vintage Photo all the time, so I have a finger dabber. Flip it over. Again, we're just adding a little bit of coloring that will coordinate with our petal color. I chose to style this very similar to my mini flower template 13, but again, you don't have to do any inking if you don't want to, if you have a large quantity of flowers to make. So I'm just brushing it on, a little bit of coloring, keeping it more towards the top, like of the top 3/4 of it, just because you generally don't see the bottom. And I'm just using a piece of copy paper, drawing paper that I had gotten in a huge quantity from my local Ollie's store. I know this is not sponsored by Ollie's. It's just what I use for my inking. I like to use any old paper you have, or even newspaper. Just something on the back. I don't like to mess up my mat too much. Okay, again, that was Vintage Photo Distress Oxide. Now I'm going to take my bone folder. I'm going to take 2 of them at a time. And like every 4 petals, I'm just going to slide my bone folder in just because it's easier to control to curl them. And you can see I pulled one off accidentally. All good. And take our next two. I keep pulling them off. I'm holding it at the bottom to hopefully not pull them off. But you can see it happens, no big deal. I like when the oopsies happen during filming because then you can see how I would correct a mistake. But in this case, it doesn't matter. Whether it's your first or your hundredth or thousandth flower, oopsies happen. So don't worry about it. Okay, now we're going to take our slotted quilling tool. We're going to thread one end into the end of the slotted quilling tool. Okay, I'm going to roll it towards me a few times. Now they will most likely tangle a bit. Okay, add some glue and continue rolling. And then we're going to secure our end. Okay, now take your second one. Go to where the last one ended, and I overlap slightly, and that's okay. Roll it towards yourself. And again, we're just going to continue to add our last two centers. So this should fill up our center nicely. There's so many different possibilities for flowers with this, so please don't limit yourself to what I create. Think outside the box and have some fun with it. That's what I love about paper flowers. The possibilities are endless. And this is such a fun template, whether in mini flower form or large paper flower format. And I love a good, fun center. And add some glue. We're going to go to where our last one ended and overlap slightly. And keep rolling. If it does pop off the slotted quilling tool, that's perfectly okay. Okay, now we're going to remove it. And I like to press it down to shape it a little bit. Now, do you want to optionally add some more color? So a great color that coordinates is ground espresso, and sometimes I add some pink in there too. So I'm just gonna brush on a little bit of ground espresso. Again, I've been using these colors a lot, or if you follow me on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, you'll notice I do use these colors a lot. It's a nice neutral color. They coordinate well together. And if any of these little crazy pieces of the center go crazy, you just bend them back into shape. I love playing around with my centers. I could put every little piece in its own place. And then I do like to add a little bit of the picked raspberry. I was using tattered rose on this, but I think for a little bit of color right in the center, I'm going to add this picked raspberry. We didn't do it after every layer. It's just to highlight a little bit of color. We're going to bring our flower back. And it should fit right there in our center. So I'm just going to add a bunch of glue. And I still use my mini glue gun for my large paper flowers, which I am sure I mentioned in the video. I'm just going to place it right in the center where all of those petals meet. And it fills it up super nicely. And you have that little bit of pop of color. So she's a gorgeous flower. You can add some sepals on if you're adding her to your large freestanding flower stand. You definitely could add a half sphere foam circle and cover it with leaves to attach it to your flower stand, so it'll have a nice sepal back. But thank you for watching, and I hope I can inspire you to make a large template 13 flower.